A quick video going through a few samples of a house I was really excited to try, and I haven't heard a lot of talk about this brand, so I thought I would give some impressions. First of all, if you've heard of the brand Goutal, it's a very kind of well-known, well-respected French brand. I feel like in my mind I group them with the very earliest niche brands, things like L'Artisan Parfum and Serge Lutens. But Goutal's thing was always a little bit more elegant, not so experimental. I think they're really well known for their Immortels fragrance Sable, as well as Eau d'Adrienne. I'm not the biggest Goutal expert, but I have tried those and a couple others, and they were nice. I believe they'd since sold the brand, so if you're feeling a little tired of brands being sold and reworked by larger companies, then you might want to check out, in a way, sort of a second coming of the Goutal brand, Voyage Imaginaire. So this brand is founded by Annick Goutal's daughter, and she's working with the same perfumer, Isabelle Doyen, who did all of the Goutal fragrances. So I thought that's really nice. It's Camille Goutal is the daughter's name. One thing that separates them is they are advertised as all natural perfumes. I'm kind of neither here nor there about that. In one way, it's good because it guarantees a large percentage of naturals, just by its very essence. But on the other hand, I do feel like in general, the best perfumes are always a mix of naturals and sort of well-dosed synthetics. So we'll see how it goes as we go through these. I only have 4 from the brand, so it's not an entire house overview, but I thought I would give my impressions about these 4. I also will say I wish they would change their name. So many times I heard about this brand, and then when I was ordering samples, couldn't recall it. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's my fault, but so many times I nearly bought the Liquide Imaginaire sample set, which I would have regretted, and then had to look up again Goutal something Voyage Imaginaire. I don't know, maybe it's just me, although I know a bit of French, I'm not native French, that I just get these kind of 2-word French brand names very easily mixed up. There's Matière Première, there's just so many that sound like this, and it just didn't stick in my head for whatever reason. But anyway, here we go, our samples from Indigo. And another kind of funny story, there's a new department store, which is from France, called Printemps, which means spring, which just opened up in downtown New York City, which is not too far from me. It's pretty easy to get to. And literally the day that I got the notice that these were delivered, I was in that store and I saw that they had it. So I didn't have to order the samples, although it's always much nicer to have some juice at home so you can go through them more thoroughly than in store. So anyway, while I was there, I sampled one that I hadn't purchased, which was Tea and Rock and Roll. I will say again, in the haze of the many perfumes I sampled that day, I'm not able to give it a fair shake. But that one, it smelled nice. It did smell like tea, but it was kind of light and it didn't really stick out or do anything particular to me. But again, I had tried a few other perfumes that day as well, so that doesn't tell you very much. So let's just kind of go in random order through these. In general, there's one I really like, there's one I really don't like, and we'll talk about the ones in between. So this one is called Azahar, and I tried to pull up this. There's a really nice interview. I believe it's the perfume guy, Sebastian. And just Isabelle and Camille just seem like really lovely people. They have a rapport. It's a really cute family story. Obviously, Isabelle has known Camille since she was young. And so it's really nice that they are working together to this day. So this one, yeah, it's kind of a bright, citrusy floral, kind of citrusy tuberose, orange blossom. I'll read exactly what the brand says. So it says, its name gives the clue, orange tree in Spanish Arabic. There you are, standing on a Moroccan roof, an exquisite coolness wafts up, chasing the clinging heat of the day. So the notes include orange blossom, petit grain, tangerine, soft vanilla marshmallow. So yeah, that's kind of my disappointment with this one. I've smelled this so many times. I know I've said this in other videos, that there's a French dessert of marshmallows and orange blossom, and this just seems to capture the imagination of many perfume brands. I bought a Orme fragrance of the same theme There's a Parlement de Parfum fragrance of the same thing. I'm sorry, it just smells like something I've smelled a million times before. It does have a nice citrus brightness, but I just don't like the orange blossom when it goes down this sweet marshmallow vanilla route. Actually, right, there's also that huge hit, Love Don't Be Shy is that same thing, orange blossom with vanilla. So it's not bad, it's not my least favorite, but I don't like the sweetness. I don't like vanilla with orange blossom. I like orange blossom when it goes maybe a little more green or maybe a little more solar. But if you're just a fiend for that kind of fragrance, this certainly is very well done. Like I sort of alluded to a bit in the Les Indémodables video, which is not an all-natural brand. They never say that or advertise that. But many of the openings are very bright and vivid, I find, with all-natural perfumes. It's the base and mid where they can kind of either lose steam or just dry down to something a lot less kind of impressive or a lot less interesting. So the opening of this is very, you can just smell all of the elements there. It almost has like a lemon-like citrus, like that sharp, almost sourness. You can smell the orange blossom, the marshmallow, so everything's kind of legible from the start. But it kind of just softens off. Of course, the longer lasting materials are the vanilla and the marshmallow, so that's kind of what you're left with for most of the wear. But anyway, it's a scent profile I don't really like, and I've smelled too many times lately. Next up is Comme un Gant, which means like a glove. I believe this is their most recent release. And let's get some on the card. I've worn all these on skin. I've had this for a week now. So this is kind of their sandalwood. Really nice opening. A little bit of like suede leather impression I'm getting right now. Let's see what they say about it. Among an immaculate work of art, the light dance is wreathed in an aura of mystery, the delicate forms of crumpled silk paper, translucent in places and downy in others, inspire this abstract, woody, yet radiant sillage, an intense emotion through shades of white. Interesting. So the notes, cardamom, sandalwood, coconut, and vetiver in the base. So this is maybe my second favorite. It's, again, if we have kind of, classic scent profiles, this is the creamy coconutty sandalwood. But it's done really well. I think the name is interesting because I can imagine the smell of like a really fine, light brown suede glove, but also the way you wear a glove on your skin, so the fragrance can kind of wear on you like a glove. It becomes sort of soft and skin-like. Again, my only sort of personal criticism is it's a little bit sweet for me. That sort of milky, coconutty aspect is also sweetened, but I like it quite a lot. This one's kind of on the consideration table. I remember the dry down maintaining that sort of woody sandalwoodness. I don't get any vetiver, so to speak, but probably a little dose is just helping the base last. So this one I like, but it's not a love, but a well done, creamy, milky, coconutty sandalwood that also implies to me just a little bit of a fine leather smell. And next up, there are, I think I may be missing 4 fragrances. Maybe I have about half the line, and I'm interested to try the others, see if there's more hits among those. But the next one we've got is called Le Grand Jeu, which means like the big game. Unless, I don't know, maybe these phrases have another like colloquial meaning that I'm unaware of. So this is my hate of the bunch. Speaking of coconut, this is your kind of coconut sunscreen lotion fragrance, which is a scent profile I like if it's done a certain way. I love Guerlain's Embrun de Ylang, which is no doubt a big sunscreeny ylang kind of fragrance. What I don't like is sometimes coconut can go almost like animalic and sickening a little bit, which is interesting that coconut can do this, but it's a smell that I don't like. Another fragrance that comes to mind is Healy's Coco Bello. I also really don't like this one. But let's see what they say about Le Grand Jeu. This one has sex appeal to spare. Proudly flaunting its tremendous sensuality, heads turn towards the arousing scent of wet, tanned bodies heating in the sun. the full-on charisma of a Bond girl or Bond himself. These are good, actually. I like them. We see ourselves in long, daringly low-cut evening dresses or tuxedo, leaning over the gambling table. So yeah, apparently they wanted that sexy association. I could see the kind of you've been baking in the sun and have a little bit of body odor mixing with your sunscreen. But I'm not alone. I briefly browsed some Fragrantica reviews, and some people were saying this smells like the toilet at the beach. Some people had really negative reactions. A few other people said, this is gorgeous, this is my go-to scent. But yeah, it dries down to just kind of a lot of coconut to me, and kind of the nasty kind, to be quite honest. So I like a sunscreen fragrance, but I guess for me, the coconut has to be just like a flourish, an embellishment. I love the coconut and cardinal flower, but here it feels like the dry down after some of the brighter notes dissipate. The coconut is the main event. They list gardenia, tuberose, coconut, vanilla. So yeah, I think again, it's just that coconut vanilla combo that gets me. The creaminess of one or the other is often welcomed, but together, it's too much. So here is the stellar one, the knock out of the park, the one, dear watcher, you need to try. So L'eau des Immortels. So obviously this is getting compared to Sabla, and they admit that as well, which is the big famous Immortel fragrance from Goutal. And this is a big Immortel fragrance. I think one thing about this as well is that, well, for obvious reasons, heavier materials tend to just do better in all natural perfume. So patchouli doesn't need anything else to last all day. It lasts all day just fine. And as does Immortel. Whereas I feel like it's really hard to make like a floral or a citrus or a green woody or things like this that really still give a satisfying wear after an hour or two. So that's always my complaint. I enjoy a cologne. I enjoy a short-lived fragrance. I enjoy an ultralight Elena, barely there. But what I don't enjoy is smells amazing for 10 minutes and then smells kind of bland and flat for 4 or 5 hours. And I find that with a lot of natural fragrances, not all, but a lot. So anyway, this does not suffer from that. This right away reminded me of Eau Noire, which really proved to me, although I've never smelled the material in isolation, just how much Eau Noire is all about Immortel. There's so many facets to Eau Noire, the coffee, the spices, that I realize now smelling this, I think all those details are coming just from the Immortel itself. I'm sure they're accented and accentuated by additions such as the lavender. So this reminds me quite a bit of Eau Noire. I think Eau Noire is more spicy. The one I have, the old one, the cologne, is really thick and gets overwhelming on me. It almost just seems to grow and grow. This has a nice balance. This is thicker and richer than the newer one re-released by Kirkjan, which kind of feels like a light cologne version of the original. So if you're hankering for that old Eau Noire, definitely go smell this. At first, spray on card and wrist, I kind of thought, well, yeah, okay, it's an Immortel. I have Eau Noire. Maybe there's no reason for this. But then I gave it a full wear on my body and as my only scent of the day, and it really won me over. It pulls a cool trick, which is, for me, the opening has a lot more patchouli that almost acts like a mask to the Immortel. So at first, it really smells quite different than like Sabla or Eau Noire. By the way, I've tried Sabla. I'm not ultra familiar with it, but in my mind, that one is a lot kind of smoother and softer and more like kind of quiet and elegant in comparison to this one. But the patchouli kind of starts out and right away you think, oh, this is more about patchouli. But almost like a top note, the patchouli fades and then the heart is all just like Immortel, just like pulsing, giving you all of its like interesting facets and just radiating beautiful warmth and spiciness. But then hours and hours later, the patchouli comes back because again, patchouli just seems to last forever as a base note. So it's this, I really like the way it's kind of this melding and transition between patchouli and Immortel throughout the wear. Definitely a colder weather fragrance, but this will be high on my mind when we approach fall. So what they say about it: in the garden of the gods, at the edge of the world, embark upon a search for hidden treasure. Lose yourself amongst the intoxicating scents of the mysterious vegetation, enchanting flowers, fragrant woods, mystical plants, exalted by the heat of a divine sun. So the notes: bergamot, immortel, a torrid vibration, a debauchery of lascivious resins and voluptuous balms, exalted. Amorous, benzoin, vanilla, tonka, labdanum, and it says amber creation with notes of chocolate. I like, you might think this is over the top, but I'm liking these these descriptions from the website. So yeah, really good. It doesn't go overly syrupy or rich or overwhelming on me. It's like dialed in just right for my taste. Warm, beefy, thick, nuanced, but never annoying or cloying, long-lasting, linear in a way, but sort of like ever shifting in sort of its balance and the prominent note. Right now on card, the patchouli is still kind of going, but I'm starting to pick up a little spiciness that I know so well from the Immortels and Eau Noire. So there you go, 4 fragrances from the house of Voyage Imaginaire, which is quite fun to say in French. I'll give them that. Immortels, you gotta try it. The others, I don't know, but I'd like to try the rest of this brand, and maybe I'll get myself some samples and come back on to discuss the rest. And I'll see you later.